Welcome back. I explained the pre-colonial administration in Hausa land. I need you to read up the write-up there that has the functions of the Waziri, the Madawaki, the Galadima, and all that. Read it up. Now let's look at pre-colonial administration in Igbo land. Now, the pre-colonial administration in Igbo land was different from that of Yoruba, that is Old Oyo Empire, and Hausa Fulani. Please take note of this. The pre-colonial administration in Igbo land had what we call was stateless, and it was decentralized, and the system was also what segmented. It was Republican, where you had the village democracy, and the Republican, it was Republican as well. The system was democratic, as there was the principle of equality and social justice. So you have the village assembly where they gather, people give their different opinions and things like that. There was no centralized power. There's no figurehead where you say has the final say and carries out decisions. Decision making and decision was reached by everybody in the village at that time. So take note of that. And it says women played a significant role in government through the Umuada, daughters of the kindred. So take note of this. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, you see structures of the pre-colonial administration in Igbo, political administration in Igbo land. It says the village administration. Sometimes we call it the village assembly, where they gather to carry out decisions are reached. You see, you have each village was made up of families. Each family held the Ofo title. You have the Ofo title holders, you have the Ozo title holders, you have the age grade. The age grade system was here. The village meetings was also here. Now you have the council, functions and powers of the council of elders. When they had the village assembly, from there you go down to the council of elders where decisions are reached. Take note of this. Then the council acted as decision-making board and body. Number 4 says it performed religious functions. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, now we're looking at the Yoruba or Old Oyo Empire. Please take note of this. Yoruba / Old Oyo Empire. Please take note of this. I need to put that some textbooks will show you this, so that when you see them, you don't get confused. All right. So, like that of the Hausa Fulani, the Yoruba also had a centralized system of government where there is a head that was at the helm of affairs. In the Yoruba or Old Oyo Empire, we have the Alaafin. The Alaafin was not an autocratic ruler like the Emir. The Alaafin's powers were regulated by the Council of Oyomesi and the Ogboni courts. At the head, look at it, say the king was called the Alaafin, headed by the Alaafin. Please take note of this. And this system was monarchical in nature. It was monarchical in nature. Now, I need you to read up. We have the Yoruba system. The Yoruba system was divided into 4 groups. The Alaafin at the top of the hem of affairs. The number 2 organ, we have the Council of Oyomesi. The Council of Oyomesi. The Council of Oyomesi is made up of 7 royal kingmakers. The 7 royal kingmakers represent the 7 wards in the Old Oyo Empire. Please take note of this. Then the person heading the Council of Oyomesi was the Bashanru. The Bashanru was the prime minister of the empire. the Prime Minister of the empire. This is the second organ. The third organ was the Ogboni Society. The Ogboni Society. The Ogboni Society was headed by the Olowu. Please take note of this. So, the Council of Oyomesi checks the activities of the Alaafin, so he doesn't become autocratic. The Ogboni Society checks the activities of the Council of Oyomesi. So, in cases where you have a Basharu that does not like the king or is corrupt, so what the Ogboni cult does is to regulate the activities of the Council of Oyomesi or the Basharu. Then we have the fourth organ, Ara Ona Kankafo. That is the military administration. The military organ. Go through your notes. And the military organ was headed by the army commander known as who? Afonja. Now, before we go into the features of this, remember, when an Alaafin has been rejected by the people, first it goes through the Council of Oyomesi down to the Ogboni courts, and like that, he will be presented with an empty calabash, or a calabash that has parrot eggs. Calabash that has what? Parrot eggs. And when such calabash has been presented, he is expected to commit suicide. Don't forget, he is expected to commit suicide. It shows the calabash represents that the people have rejected him as being their king. And again, don't forget, if the Alaafin must commit suicide, one member of the Council of Oyomesi must commit suicide with him. So please, I need you to take note. Don't forget. Then, when we get to the army commander, when a battle has been lost, the Afonja, who happens to be the army commander, must commit suicide or be banished from the empire. Must commit suicide or be banished from the empire. Also note that most Afonjas are from the commoners. They are not royals. Most Afonjas are commoners and not royals. Okay, let's look at one or two features of the Yoruba political system. The size of the political system was a very large one. Old Oyo Empire was actually large. So that is what it's talking about. The system was a constitutional monarch. Yes, it was a constitutional monarch. The Oba was not an autocratic ruler. So he cannot just take decisions on his own. His activities are checked by the Council of Oyomesi. Take note of that. And okay, you see, there were checks and balances so that the Oba do not abuse the power. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, these are the structures. I want you to read of this. You have the Aremo. You know who the Aremo is. The Aremo is the eldest son of the Alaafin. So take note of these. You see, we talked about the Council of Oyomesi. Read them up. Okay, let's go to our questions. Okay, it says the pre-colonial Yoruba political system as a whole can best be described as dash. What do you think is the answer? It's C. It's highly centralized. The Alaafin at the top of administration is highly centralized. It was an organized system with checks and balances, making sure that power was not abused. Please take note of this. So C is your answer. Okay. 32 says, in the pre-colonial Hausa political system, the Madawaki performed the functions of dash. The Madawaki performed the functions of dash. Now, remember, we have the Waziri. The Waziri was the prime minister. Remember? So the Madawaki is the commander of the army. The commander of the army. The commander of the army. In the old Oyo Empire, The Ajele was dash. Who was the Ajele? He ensures good governance of the district. C is your answer. C is your answer. One of the methods used to oust an erring Oba in the Yoruba tradition. Now, when you hear these things, erring Oba, remember I talked about it, he was forced to commit suicide. When they present an empty calabash or a calabash containing parrot eggs, it means that the Oba must do what? Commit suicide. So the answer is B, he must commit suicide. All right. The western zone of the Sokoto Caliphate was administered from dash. I told you when we were talking about the Hausa Fulani, we said the Sokoto Caliphate had two administrative headquarters. One in Sokoto, the second was Gwando. So D is your answer. Some pre-colonial Nigerian societies are described as stateless because dash. Now they are talking about a particular pre-colonial society here. It's talking about the Igbo pre-colonial society. It was stateless. It was stateless. And the answer is A. The answer is A. They had no formal governmental institutions. You know, I told you they ruled themselves. They were decentralized. That's the key word. They were decentralized. So your answer is A. A is the answer here. In pre-colonial Nigeria, the northern emir did not use one of these as his head. The Talakawa. The Talakawa means a commoner or a poor person. So he made use of the Madawaki, the Galadima, the Waziri. These are people that ruled with the emir. So he didn't make use of the Talakawa. Take note, the Talakawa is a commoner or a poor person. So take note, your answer is A. The answer here is A. 38. The pre-colonial organization described as acephalous was the dash. This is another question referring to the Igbo pre-colonial administration. When you see questions saying stateless, acephalous, it's the same thing. We're talking about the Igbo political organization. The Igbo political organization. So the answer is B, meaning that it was decentralized. It was decentralized. Question 39. A predominant feature of the pre-colonial governance system was that dash. The customary laws were prevalent. You cannot say the British indirectly. We are talking about pre-colonial, before colonialism. Please always look at, sometimes students get confused with this. Before colonialism, the British were not here before colonialism. They came and they were around during the colonial era. Please take note of this. The governance structures were largely undefined. No, it was defined. Like the Hausa Fulani and the Old Oyo Empire, they had a structured system of governance. Theocratic system was widely embraced. No. So it was customary laws. Customary laws were prevalent. They were common. Take note of this. Now, this is the question. The non-stratified society in the pre-colonial era was that of the dash, where decisions were made by the dash. Okay. Non-stratified. What we're saying, the society was not centralized. It was not centralized. And the answer is the Igbo. The Igbo. The Igbo. Please take note of this. The Igbo. So that is the answer. Let's go to question 41. The head of the district in the Hausa Fulani Empire were the dash. The answer is Hakimi, the Hakimi. They were the ones in charge, they were the heads of the district of the empire. All right, we'll be going for a short break soon and I'll be back again. All right, take care.